We're both not going to go to sleep sitting here.
Yeah.
The line has already started now, just hours away from President Trump's stop in Evansville. New information this morning on the schedule. We could see Air Force One in the skies around 5 tonight. He's coming to town for a rally, and many saying an endorsement for Senate hopeful and Jasper businessman Mike Braun.
There is no reason to come down and behave in a manner that is inflammatory. You can express your opinions without engaging in people that have a different opinion, and that's what we would ask.
Thousands of people are expected in downtown, and that means more security and precautions, something many who work or need to get downtown need to pay attention to.
And I don't envy them because I've done so many of these. I realize the great amount of work needed to do this successfully.
Plus, this will be the first time a sitting president has been in Evansville to speak in 32 years. So it's a history-making day for the city. And of course, it's not the first time President Trump has made a stop. And look at it, who else has stopped in on Air Force One. Well, good morning. It's 6 o'clock on Thursday, August 29th. I'm Shaylee Clark.
And I'm meteorologist Byron Douglas.
Well, Dan Katz is in downtown Evansville this morning. He's outside of the Ford Center along with Sidney Miller, where lots of action is planned. President Trump will be touching down in the tri-state in just hours now. First, Byron, how's the weather looking for the presidential visit today?
Well, the storyline today is flat out going to be cooler. We're only looking at lower 80s. We were down a little bit yesterday, but we've been on a 90s streak. In fact, we had some of the hottest days in August here at the end of the month. And we're also, as we look from our camera position from the River Park Center into Owensboro, then into Spencer County, mostly cloudy skies out there. That will be the theme in the wake of this front. Now, we're dealing with a little bit of scattered fog. It's set up across southeast Illinois, Fairfield down into Carmi, and then into Mount Carmel. Not too bad, but it has cut into visibility 3-4 miles out there. It might be a few sprinkles you get out towards Mount Vernon, St. Phillips, and some of these areas from these low clouds. Temperatures a little bit cooler on the low side. We do have a 64 in Carmi, 66 in Mount Carmel, and we have a 69 in Oakland City and a 68 in Washington. So where we have cool temperatures in the 60s, a little bit of fog, but I don't think it's going to be a major hassle out there. Temperatures aren't going to do a whole lot this morning, kind of holding the lower 70s. A spotty shower out there, but the rain will be fairly light. We'll let you know if things change a bit during the afternoon.
Thanks, Byron. The President of the United States will land in the tri-state today. President Donald Trump's motorcade made the trip yesterday, and we were there as it was unloaded, ready for the President and Air Force One to arrive at Evansville Regional Airport later this evening. Law enforcement have been prepping all week for huge crowds at the Ford Center. Some people already outside the doors this morning waiting for President Trump's rally, and that's where Dan Katz is right now. Dan, are those lines growing?
Yes, a little bit. This morning we came down a few hours ago and there was about 20 people. It's probably upwards of about 40 right now. And there's a little bit more of a buzz in the air. People bringing out their signs and their hats and their banners and all things Trump this morning. Of course, this rally is supposed to serve as a Trump endorsement for Republican Senate hopeful Mike Braun. Braun has branded himself as a faithful Trump supporter. Braun's opponent is current Senator, of course, Joe Donnelly, and voting for Trump policy slightly more than half the time. So Trump needs Donnelly's vote for his Supreme Court nominee this fall, which is something he will have to keep in mind with how he treads on the Braun endorsement. Plus, the outcome of November's midterms could be felt around the country.
Indiana has one of the hottest races in the country. This race could determine the control of the Senate next year. So how voters decide here in Indiana could make a huge difference to the future of American politics and to the future of the Trump administration's policies.
The president is expected to tout Indiana's economy along with his tough immigration and trade policies, plus his new EPA coal rules. Expect President Trump to remind Hoosiers to get out and vote this fall in the midterm election. So this visit to Evansville today obviously could have a national impact, something many here in the tri-state and across the country will be watching very closely. But a rally of this magnitude is always a little tricky from a security perspective. We'll talk to Billy Bolin here shortly, but right now Sidney Miller is joining me to talk about some of the problems you may encounter as you try to maneuver around downtown Evansville later today.
That's right. Thanks, Dan. Traffic is going to be a big consideration this morning. Although President Trump doesn't get into downtown Evansville until later this afternoon, the traffic restrictions are already in place this morning. They actually just moved some barriers here onto Main Street and then Martin Luther King Jr. Boulevard here shortly. EPD officials tell us that the Ford Center and Old National Events Plaza will have areas where neither cars nor pedestrian traffic is allowed. But we are told that the restricted areas will be clearly marked. Main Street in front of the Ford Center will be accessible to pedestrians only as of this morning, just a couple minutes ago. As for event parking, parking is available in the Civic Center back 40 parking lot on 9th Street. City-owned garages at Sycamore, 6th and Sycamore, 5th and Locust, and 3rd and Locust will also be open for public parking as well. Street parking will be available in certain areas but won't be available until 4 this afternoon. Parking in non-designated areas or on private property is not allowed. Heavy traffic is expected, especially in the hours leading up to the doors opening, so take this into consideration when planning for your afternoon commute. But EPD officials assure many roads will remain open for entering and leaving the downtown area. Those wishing to park in the area of the event should plan accordingly. EPD officials say both pedestrians and drivers should be extra alert when coming downtown that right now through this evening as President Trump prepares to arrive here and then speak at the Ford Center. And they say that planning and awareness, patience are key here to have this all go smoothly. Dan?
Yes, Sydney, of course, I just put up a barrier here a few minutes ago right at the end of Main Street, so some of those roadblocks already going into place. And, of course, at the end of the day, when all is said and done, police and all the security officials want this to be a peaceful, well-run event. Evansville Police Chief Billy Bolin joins me now to talk a little bit more about this huge event happening. When a president of the United States comes to town, it's a big deal. You think you're ready for the event tonight?
Yeah, our team has done a lot of work this week. We've been meeting with all kinds of agencies, Secret Service, primarily the Sheriff's Department and the Indiana State Police have been very actively involved. And there's a lot of the other agencies in the area that are assisting as well.
What would be your best advice for anybody wanting to come down here and avoid problems?
You know, just stay to your own self. Whether you're pro-Trump or you're anti-Trump, I mean, you're welcome to support him or protest the other, vice versa, but don't insult other people that are walking by. If somebody's got an anti-Trump sign, don't start yelling at them. If somebody's got on a Make America Great Again hat, don't start yelling at them. I mean, just respect others and, you know, support your own beliefs, but don't insult others.
So don't engage would be your best advice. So when the president does go wheels up at the Evansville Regional, it'll be a successful event.
Yeah, that is the goal of today, is to hear those words, wheels up.
And if somebody wants to go out and see the president's motorcade, I know you can't give specific details, but I mean, do you have any advice for them?
You know, I can tell you if I wasn't in this job, that would be my number one thing I'd want to do with my kids, to see it. We're not allowed to tell the route of the motorcade, but I think a lot of people can use some common sense and figure out where point A is and point B and try to figure out a spot that you could watch.
All right, Police Chief Billy Bolin, thanks very much for joining us. Good luck with the big event coming up today.
Thank you very much.
All right, and well, like the president or not, a president of the United States is in Evansville today, so hopefully everything goes smoothly and peacefully, but certainly a lot of folks will be watching the eyes of the nation. Perhaps the world will be on the city of Evansville later today. Shaylee, back to you.
Thank you, Dan, and we'll be back with you guys soon. Now, Sydney covered many traffic alerts in the area of the Ford Center, but we do want to remind those needing to get downtown or around it that Riverside is also closed from Court to Cherry Street because crews are getting ready for this weekend's Hydro Fest. So a lot of alerts downtown to be careful for when you head down there today. Byron, let's talk about weather, though, because some people are already out there in line this morning.
Yeah, well, the weather's going to cooperate overall. It's going to be cooler. We're going to have high temperatures in the lower 80s, down quite a bit. Now, we're not noticing it so much this morning, but we do have mostly cloudy skies out at Mars Elementary. The winds are fairly light. Most of the fog is set up across southeast Illinois. We're seeing some walkers and joggers in downtown Evansville, mostly cloudy skies. We've had just a few sprinkles out there, and I think any rain would be less than 1/10 of an inch. We'll check the visibility. It had lowered a bit in Carmi back through Harrisburg, and Wayne City showing just a little bit of fog. So a lot of it kind of Highway 1, Highway 45 come to mind. 4 miles in Carmi, 5 in Fairfield, 5 in Flora. That's manageable, but some of the low spots as you get down the Little Wabash, Highway 15, the Wabash River might be dealing with a little bit of fog. So I'll run the fog outlook as we go through the next couple of hours, kind of thickest across southeast Illinois. You see there at 8 o'clock, showing highlighting across southeast Illinois where temperatures are in the 60s. We have a few sprinkles maybe down through Sturgis and then out towards Omaha, Norris City, and then into Carmi. And outside of a few sprinkles, just generally mostly cloudy skies. Some pretty vigorous storms out in eastern Kansas. They've had some warnings there, even out into Goodland, Kansas, it looks like, but those will not be a factor for us. Generally, we'll just be dealing with a few widely scattered showers. So a brief cool down will heat up again in time for the Labor Day weekend. That story here in a couple of minutes.
Back to our live team coverage of President Donald Trump's visit to Evansville later today. The crowds are building here in downtown Evansville, and some of the roadblocks have gone up. So there really, you can tell there's an increase in activity down here, more of a security presence, and a lot of fans of the president are here with their shirts, their hats, their banners, their signs and flags, you name it. They are here in anticipation of his speech tonight, set for about 7 o'clock at the Ford Center. Now, of course, sitting presidents, it's not a very common occurrence in the city of Evansville. The last sitting president to visit the city was Ronald Reagan back in 1986. Of course, that was at Roberts Stadium, which no longer exists. And of course, Donald Trump and Mike Pence were here to campaign. But as far as sitting presidents go, back in 2016, they were on the campaign trail. President Obama was a sitting president when he came to the tri-state. However, he made an appearance at Millennium Steel in Princeton. That was back in 2014. President Clinton was also in the tri-state as a sitting president. He was over in Owensboro at Audubon Elementary back in 2000. And again, President Reagan, who I happened to cover, which I'm dating myself saying that, but it was back in 1986 at Roberts Stadium when he came in to campaign. Gerald Ford also visited Evansville in April of 1976. So there is history of sitting presidents being in town, but certainly a big day ahead here at Roberts Stadium at the Ford Center when the president makes his way in here. After a fundraiser at the Old National Events Plaza, he will make his way to the Ford Center for a big rally, which is expected to be packed and fans, again, lining up. But before he gets here, he'll, of course, land at Evansville Regional in Air Force One, which a lot of other people are talking about as well. Shaylee?
Yeah, Dan, and I plan to be at EVV this afternoon for President Trump to land in Air Force One. And EVP officials told us they don't expect today's rally to create any delays. We're told the airport team has been working with the White House staff and Secret Service to prepare. But if you're flying later this evening, it's recommended that you allow some extra time because some roads will be closed as the president goes to and from Air Force One. Happening today, a memorial service will be held in Phoenix for Senator John McCain. McCain's casket will depart the Arizona State Capitol, where thousands paid their respects yesterday. A list of invited guests will attend a celebration of life service at North Phoenix Baptist Church. Former Vice President Joe Biden is among the speakers scheduled to pay tribute to the former Arizona senator. Almost all of the criminal charges have been dismissed after 11 children were found starving at a compound in New Mexico. Judges threw out a total of 55 counts of felony child abuse because the 5 adult suspects were not given a preliminary hearing within the 10-day time frame required by the law.
I don't know whether they're overworked, they don't have enough people at their office. I don't see the district attorney here or the chief deputy district attorney, but it is disturbing to me that the district attorney would put this court in that kind of a situation.
The only charges that remain are against 2 people. One of them is the father of the child, whose remains were found on the grounds of the compound on what would have been his 4th birthday. Both pleaded not guilty to charges related to the child's death. Well, Byron, it's going to be a lot cooler today than it will be tomorrow, it looks like, but still pretty warm for August.
Yeah, lower 80s. Now, it's going to be underneath the average today, but I mean, we've been on the track there of mid-90s. It eased a little bit yesterday with the front working on through. So at the bus stop, just a little bit cooler out there, but on alert for some fog. Fairfield, Carmi, Wayne City, some of these locations across southeast Illinois. But you see temperatures not doing a whole lot. I mean, look at lunchtime, it's 77. We had 3 days in a row where at lunch we were at 90, so quite a bit down there. At 3 o'clock, some spotty showers, 80 to about 83 during the afternoon. And the best chance for a little bit of rain will be early, then again during the afternoon, because winds up aloft will be out of the north, and so we'll have a little convergence touching off a few scattered showers. Princeton showing mostly cloudy skies. I have a lot of stratus clouds out there. They might squeeze out a sprinkle or two, but traffic's moving along okay at this hour. So mostly cloudy skies, a 1 in 5 chance for some scattered rain outside of any threat for severe weather. 68 for tonight, and then for tomorrow, partly sunny. A warm front is going to push across our area, especially late in the day. I think during the morning we're fine, but kind of a seasonable high of 88. But we're trending dry for the football games on Friday night, even though it will be humid at kickoff. As we go forward here at 7 o'clock, we have temperatures of 66 there in Carmi, 67 in Mount Carmel. Then as we go 9 o'clock, mid-70s during that stretch, and then into the afternoon, just enough instability to touch off some scattered showers. This takes us to 3 o'clock, and we'll throw in a little bit of sunshine, but mostly cloudy skies will be the theme. This takes us to 6:30, so head out for the presidential visit, maybe just a sprinkle or two. And we're outside of any risk for strong showers and storms, even into Saturday. That's our next chance for some isolated showers and storms, just a general risk, and that's what we want as we open up September. Meteorological fall technically starts off. And we'll take you through Saturday, Sunday, and Labor Day. So we're going to be featuring temperatures in the upper 80s. Best chance for some scattered showers and storms will be during the afternoon. And then on Sunday up to 89, I'll bump it up to 90 on Labor Day, some widely scattered showers and storms. I'll be back with the presidential forecast in a moment.
You say...
Britain's Prince Harry delighted the London cast of hit musical Hamilton and its creator Lin-Manuel Miranda yesterday when he sang the first note of King George III's song, You'll Be Back. Prince Harry and his wife Meghan attended the special performance to raise money for Centabale, a charity he set up, which works with children affected by HIV in Southern Africa. The London production is the show's first foray outside of the United States after successful runs in Chicago, San Francisco, and Los Angeles, as well as Broadway. You're watching 14 News Sunrise.
Time is 6:22. Thanks so much for waking up with us. We'll go through the presidential forecast. It is going to be cooler today. Temperatures only in the lower 80s, and we're going to struggle just to get there. At 5 p.m., we'll be at 82, and then at 7 o'clock, 77 degrees, and maybe just a sprinkle or two. Winds will be out of the northeast. And then at 8 p.m., we'll be at 75 degrees, and winds fairly light out of the northeast with a few sprinkles out there at that time frame. So temperatures in the mid-70s, and that threat for strong showers and storms will set up out to our west, out into portions there of Kansas, will not be a factor as we go throughout the day. So overall, trending cooler out there.
And here's a reminder of some things that are closed today for the big visit. Signature School has canceled classes for the day. The Children's Museum will close early at noon today, and EVPL's Central Library will be closed. The Victory Theater is canceling their show scheduled for tonight. And we're told the Evansville Civic Center will be open as normal, but those needing to catch a Mets bus should be prepared for delays in their schedules all day. And don't forget, you'll be able to watch our team coverage leading up to the rally, then President Trump's entire speech on 14 News, streaming on all of our digital platforms like the 14 News app. You can go to our website, and you can stream on Roku and Amazon Fire. Happening today, a viewing and musical tribute will be held for the Queen of Soul. Today, fans can honor Aretha Franklin during visitation at New Bethel Baptist Church in Detroit, where her father was a pastor. Franklin will be wearing a gold dress. Later, a free musical tribute will be held at a park there. Gladys Knight is expected to perform along with many other artists. New on Sunrise, an Evansville man is facing charges for having contraband in Henderson County Jail. Detectives with the Pennyroyal Narcotics Task Force said 47-year-old Jeffrey Case was caught on camera in the administration of the jail. Officials saw him drop a plastic bag with what was found to be meth in the soda machine. After that, he turned himself in on an active warrant. He's facing those charges, still with drug and contraband charges added. A 14 News update on that deadly house fire in McCutcheonville. The coroner's office says 72-year-old Dean Volkman died in that fire. We're told Volkman lived at the home, and as we've reported, the fire started just after 8 Tuesday night on Baumgart Road. Now, the state fire marshal is looking into what caused the fire. The busyness in downtown Evansville today is not stopping Clint Loreline's murder trial. The 56-year-old is accused of killing his wife and trying to kill his twin daughters in their Darmstadt home last year. In court yesterday, video was shown from the deputy's third interview with him. Loreline admitted to his actions and told deputies he hadn't slept in weeks. Then he said after he shot his wife Sherry, he thought, "What did I do? What's wrong with me?" In that interview, Loreline also said he wanted to die after all of it. He said he didn't plan it and apologized. Court picks back up this morning at 8, and we're told everything will resume as normal despite President Trump's visit. And here's a live, and you probably can't see him here, but Dan Katz is down there right now. This is a look at downtown Evansville. A lot of those roads are going to be closing today because we're just hours away from President Trump's visit. So we'll head back out to Dan Katz in just a few moments to get a look at what's expected today.
Down in downtown Evansville, the barricades are being put up. Security has tightened. People are here lined up, and even if you probably can hear in the background, the street sweeper is out getting things all tidied up for the visit of President Donald Trump due later tonight in Evansville. We'll have more previews coming up when 14 News Sunrise continues.
On air and streaming with our news app. Streaming news is sponsored by Kenny Kent Toyota, Indiana's #1 volume Toyota dealer. You're watching the Tri-States News and Weather Leader. This is 14 News Sunrise.
It's a history-making day for Evansville. The 45th President of the United States will be making his way here in Air Force One tonight. As you can see, 14 News got a look at President Donald Trump's motorcade as it got to EVV yesterday, and it is ready for his arrival, and so are we. Your Sunrise team is kicking off this big day with team coverage from the Ford Center. We'll get to Dan and Sydney live outside the Ford Center where people are lined up. But first, let's head to meteorologist Byron Douglas in the Weather Center with a look at what we expect weather-wise. Byron?
Well, we have no alert day, so we're happy to report that, and it's going to be cooler. And we'll start to notice this during the afternoon, but we're going to have more clouds than sunshine. We're seeing some pockets of clearing, Owensboro from the River Park Center into Spencer County. And these clouds at times will squeeze out a sprinkle or two, but most of this will be during the morning. Now, we have just a little bit of fog to contend with. That's in Carmi and Fairfield up through Equality. And even out to the west there at Princeton, we saw limited visibility from Carmi up into Fairfield, but it is manageable. Evansville at 70, still showing mostly cloudy skies. Henderson at 69. Jasper is at 69. So you head out the door, out to the bus stop this morning. The winds are fairly light. So temperatures at 7 o'clock, about 70. A small chance of a sprinkler or two at 8 o'clock will be at 71. I'll take you through the afternoon and any possible alert days over the Labor Day weekend in a few minutes.
Thanks, Byron. And with President Trump visiting the tri-state in just a few hours now, it's bringing in many supporters, but it's also bringing those who don't agree with his policies. Dan Katz is live outside of the Ford Center where protests will also be happening as many are waiting to see the president. Are we expecting more police presence because of these protests, Dan?
Well, I think anytime there's a president coming to town, there's always increased security, and that will be the case tonight. There are protests planned, a couple of them, and police are just hoping they stay peaceful. We do know of one rally in response to the president's visit. It's organized by several groups, including Indivisible Evansville. It'll be held at the Memorial Baptist Church parking lot. That's at the corner of Walnut and Garvin at 5, with that march starting at 5:30.
My opinion is that we need to have a discussion about policy and about reality rather than insults and just driving polarization in our country.
And that was a member of the Tri-State Alliance, which will also have a presence here. There is a place for protests set up as well close to the Ford Center, about a block away at 9th and Locust. They are expecting some groups to be here to protest, which is normally the case when a president does come to town. Again, the president doing this afternoon at EVV, and then his rally set for about 7 o'clock with many folks already lined up enthusiastically waiting to hear the 45th President of the United States. We'll continue our coverage coming up in just a little bit. Shelley, now back to you.
Thank you, Dan. And again, here's info on one of the rallies that we have heard about from organizers. We're told it's being organized by several groups, including Indivisible Evansville. It will be held at the Memorial Baptist Church parking lot at the corner of Walnut and Garvin at 5, and then the march will start at 5:30. And we learned that at least one local politician won't be at the rally. Republican in Evansville's Mayor Lloyd Winnecke. We spoke to him earlier about missing the president's visit. Now he's actually going to be out of town with a few other city leaders. Mayor Winnecke says they'll be working on a prospective economic development project for the city.
The worst thing that you can do is come down here at the last minute and think that you're going to park in a prime spot at 10 till 4 and walk into the front door of the Ford Center to see the president speak. That's not going to happen.
Evansville police are asking people to be prepared before they head downtown. Get there early and be patient. That's EPD's advice. Many streets and intersections will be shut down around the Ford Center. Sydney Miller will run with those in just a few minutes. Evansville police have been working overtime with Secret Service officials to come up with a security plan. And we heard some of that earlier from Chief Billy Bolin. But this won't be his first time witnessing a sitting president visit the city. Chief Bolin is an Evansville native who was in middle school when President Reagan visited in '86. The chief says he's hoping parents use President Trump's visit as teaching experiences for their children.
Even if you disagree with the politics of the person, teach your kids about the process, about democracy, about the American government. It's a great thing to have a sitting president visit your town.
He says he still remembers the thrill of being on Bakey Road, watching all of the things that go into securing the event. The Newburgh Arts Commission would like to have an amphitheater near the old Lock and Dam. Now, right now, they still need adequate funding to make that happen. It's a $500,000 project to bring the amphitheater to the riverfront. $206,000 have been donated, but in order to afford it, they need at least $250,000 by October 1st. This would allow them to apply for a matching grant. Newburgh Town Council President Leanna Hughes says she is confident that they will be able to receive the funding.
It's just something that people are passionate about, passionate enough to open up their pocketbooks. And I'm sure as we get the word out that this is really happening, there will be lots more people come forward.
If the funding is raised, Newburgh will apply for the grant on October 3rd and will then find out if they've been awarded that grant in February. A new wheel tax is being implemented in Vanderburgh County. The county council voted to authorize the $20 per vehicle tax. Now, it's an update to the old 2% wheel surtax adopted back in 1982. It's expected to bring in about $1 million more for the county each year. The money will be used to repair county roads, and it goes into effect at the start of next year. We have a traffic alert in Vanderburgh County. You may experience some delays this morning on St. Joseph Avenue. Traffic will shift to the east lane of the bridge. Concrete barriers will be up to show you the lane change. Crews will be working on a widening project out there. That work is expected to wrap up around noon today. And Byron, it doesn't look like weather will be an issue for those out there working on those roads today.
No, in fact, if you're going to be working in the yard, maybe you want to get some stuff done before the Labor Day weekend. Today is going to be the coolest. You look at the next 7 to 10 days, this will be the coolest one, or not as hot, whichever you prefer. Farmersville, 68, some pockets of clearing there. A lot of the fog is set up to the west across southeast Illinois. So temperatures down, a little cooler out there this morning. We'll really notice it as we go into the afternoon. So at the bus stop this morning, kind of worst case, maybe a sprinkle or two. So I don't think it's going to rain out your homework assignment. We know that's going to be in the book bag anyway for most of you. At 7 o'clock, we'll be at 70, and then some of you didn't have any homework at all. There's a new story. At noon, we'll have 77 degrees, a 20% chance of showers, and then at 3 o'clock, we'll be at 80 with some widely scattered showers at that time, but outside of any risk for strong showers and storms. The muggy meter, we're working it back from the oppressive range to just muggy, so dew points in the 68, upper 60s, not the lower to middle 70s. In fact, yesterday at lunchtime, the dew points were in the mid 70s, so it definitely was humid out there. All the showers are generally, in principle, worked off to the east. A lot of folks didn't see a lot of rain yesterday, but some fog, Carmi, Fairfield, and showing a few sprinkles there in Gallatin County back to Union. That's just about it. We'll widen things out. Some pretty good storms out in eastern Kansas. Even some warnings there in the western part there of the state out towards Goodland. Not going to be a factor for us. Next dozen hours look like this. 77 there at lunch. Some widely scattered showers. That takes us up until 6 o'clock. So heading out to the presidential visit, the Ford Center. Wind's pretty light out of the northeast. I'll have a more specific look at that in a few minutes, and the Labor Day weekend.
Welcome back to our coverage of the visit by President Trump later tonight in Evansville, and it's becoming more and more evident with each passing moment that something big is happening tonight in downtown Evansville. People have lined up. The barricades have gone up on Martin Luther King Jr. Boulevard, and you know it's getting real when the porta potties make their way downtown Evansville. I would estimate the crowd right now at about 40 to 50. Some are vendors, many Trump fans obviously in attendance. We talked to some folks from Cincinnati, also some from Posey County, and of course Evansville. And first in line, a mother and daughter team from Georgia, excited to see the president tonight.
The 6 hours that we drove up here is nothing, absolutely nothing compared to what that man puts up with has put up with since he was inaugurated in 2017 for us. For me, for my daughter, for my grandchildren, for you, for everybody else in this country.
So some Trump fans obviously parked outside the Ford Center in great anticipation of what should be a packed Make America Great rally, as being dubbed by the White House tonight right here at the Ford Center. Again, the president will be at a reception across the street at the old National Events Plaza, a pricey fundraiser, after touching down at EVV later this afternoon. Coming up, we'll have more on the president's visit and some of the traffic issues that you could encounter on your way around downtown. Shaylee, back to you.
Thanks, Dan. Another president has been in Indiana this week. Former President Jimmy Carter has been busy. It's been about 37 years since he worked in the Oval Office, and he's still dedicated to helping Americans, working on a special Habitat for Humanity project in South Bend. Carter will turn 94 later this year.
I'm 25 years older than the People's Republic of China. It was formed in 1949 when I was 25 years old, on the first day of October. So.
Both Jimmy and Rosalind Carter have received honorary doctorates from Notre Dame. The last official summer holiday is almost here, and that means millions of Americans are preparing to do some traveling in the skies. According to Airlines for America, 16.5 million Americans are expected to fly this weekend. That's a nearly 4% spike in air travel as compared to last year. On Friday alone, the busiest travel day of the holiday weekend, it's estimated that 2.7 million people will board planes in the U.S. So if you're traveling this weekend, be sure to give yourself some extra time to get through security. And for those traveling on U.S. roadways, brace yourselves for a spike in gas prices. This will be the most expensive Labor Day weekend in the last 4 years to fill up your tank, and that's according to AAA. The national average for regular unleaded is expected to hit $2.84 per gallon, which is about 48 cents higher than last Labor Day weekend. But don't fret. Experts say that spike should be temporary. So good advice for those traveling this Labor Day weekend. Byron?
All right, safe travels for everybody. We are going to be trending seasonable as we go through Labor Day. We're going to cover the presidential visit forecast. We go up to 5 o'clock. Air Force One scheduled around that time frame for the landing out at Evansville Regional and connecting there at Tri-State Aero. And then at 7 o'clock, 77 degrees. Maybe just a sprinkle or two. I don't think this is rain you need your umbrella for. And maybe a few sprinkles there at 8 p.m. Most of the rain, though, is going to set up as we go into the morning hours, and temperatures generally only in the lower 80s as we go to the afternoon. A lot of the fog across southeast Illinois right now. That's going to thin out here pretty quickly, and see it's still in there through Wayne County, Clay County. You guys had most of the rain there yesterday, and the winds have really lightened up. So some fog development out of some school districts there up along U.S. Highway 50. On the board, mostly cloudy skies, a few sprinkles overall, but temperatures aren't going to do a whole lot as we go through the day. Where you see temperatures in the 60s, that's where we've had a little fog development. A pair of 6s in Carmi, matching Fairfield and then into Mount Carmel. So kind of in that area, Highway 14, Highway 15, and then from Crossville all the way up into Flora. Some fog potentially, and then Ridgeway and Popcorn Country at 69. So mostly cloudy skies, 83, some clearing at times. So you've got a sun will pay a visit through intervals of the day. 68 for tonight, and then for tomorrow, a warm front on the way. And we may not spend a lot of time at 88. It'll take us a while to get there with a 20% chance of some isolated showers and storms. It's going to be dry for all the football games out there as well. Some big games on there on the schedule. As we go 9:30, we'll have temperatures in the 70s and then into the 80s. A few sprinkles and areas of light rain. All the storms are rocking Kansas right now, and they won't be a factor for us. This takes us to 5:30. The temperatures, even at 7 o'clock, still about 80, 81, which is not too bad for this time of year. We'll fast forward into Saturday. The storm risk will stay to our north and west, and I think we'll project a similar story as we go into Sunday and then into Labor Day. So on Saturday, some higher humidity, and then as we go into Sunday, I've kind of stair-step the temperatures up to about 90 into Labor Day, low temperatures in the 70s. So that's about 2-3 degrees above average. Time now is 6:46.
President Trump just hours out from landing here in the Tri-State. We've kicked off 14 News all-day coverage of his visit to the Tri-State. Both Dan Katz and Sidney Miller have been out in front of the Ford Center all morning as the line there continues to grow. So let's head to Dan first on what to expect from the rally. Dan?
Well, Shaylee, things are kind of quiet now. It was a little kind of more exciting a few minutes ago, but folks maybe just kind of getting set for this, the way the day is going to proceed. And of course, as we've been telling you for a while now, the President of the United States, Donald Trump, due in Evansville later this afternoon. He will touch down at Tri-State Aero sometime after 4 o'clock. Then he'll proceed over to the Old National Events Plaza for a pricey fundraiser before coming in right behind me to the Ford Center, where he is putting on what the White House is calling a Make America Great Again rally. He's also here to bolster the campaign of Jasper businessman and Republican Mike Braun, who's in a heated battle with incumbent Senator Democrat Joe Donnelly. Part of the issue is Donnelly has sided with President Trump on many issues, so the president perhaps will have to walk a fine line during his speech to have the endorsement for Braun, but at the same time, maybe get Donnelly to vote for his Supreme Court nominee. So that's what's among what's expected tonight. Again, the crowd is building. We came here early this morning. There's about 20 or so folks right now. It looks like maybe we're pushing upwards of 50 or so. And folks have been very cordial, and they're sporting their gear, their T-shirts, their banners, their hats, of course, in support of the 45th President of the United States. If you plan on coming downtown tonight, there are a few issues. Since we've been here, barricades have already gone up. Sidney Miller's got that part of the story right now. So you want to make sure you get here early, I would guess.
That's right, Dan. Although President Trump won't be getting to downtown Evansville until late this afternoon, traffic restrictions are already in place this morning, and EPD officials tell us at the Ford Center and Old National Events Plaza will have areas where neither car nor pedestrian traffic is allowed. But we are told that the restricted areas will be clearly marked. Main Street in front of the Ford Center will be accessible to pedestrians only as of this morning. As for event parking, parking is available in the Civic Center back 40 parking lot on 9th Street. City-owned garages at 6th and Sycamore, 5th and Locust, and 3rd and Locust will be open for public parking as well. Street parking will be available in certain areas, but it won't be available until 4 this afternoon, right before the doors open at the Ford Center. Parking in non-designated areas or on private property is not allowed. Heavy traffic is expected, especially in the hours leading up to the doors opening, so take this into consideration when planning your afternoon commute. But EPD officials assure many roads will be open for entering and leaving the downtown area. Those wishing to park in the area of the event should plan accordingly. And EPD officials say that both pedestrians and drivers should be extra alert this afternoon while traveling downtown, and they say that to plan ahead and patience is key in a successful event today. Dan?
All right, Sidney, very good. Of course, so the crowd, again, is starting to build a little bit in advance of the president's visit. Coming up on Sunrise Extra in just a few minutes, we'll be talking to a Trump fan. She's from Evansville, and by my count, if it's correct, she's number 4 in line. So stick around for Sunrise Extra. We'll have more from her and on the rest of the activities in advance of the president's visit to the Tri-State. Shaylee, back to you.
All right. Thank you, Dan. And obviously, security will be tight all day downtown. We're told the Vanderburgh County Sheriff's Office, Evansville Police, and Indiana State Police have been working with the Secret Service. If you do plan to attend the rally, you're encouraged to leave most items at home, especially those big bags. We're told everyone will be screened at the door by several agencies before going into the Ford Center.
It'll rival any big concert we've ever had here in the downtown area.
Business owners are looking for another boost today for an already booming downtown. Many businesses along Main Street plan to stay open for the rally, hoping the thousands of people, supporters and protesters will come support the local shops. The Economic Development Coalition says this is one of the biggest things to happen in the city of Evansville, and they're expecting to see between 15 and 20,000 people downtown today. And don't forget, you'll be able to watch our team coverage leading up to the rally, then President Trump's entire speech on 14 News, and streaming on all of our digital platforms like the 14 News app. You can watch it on our website, and you can stream it on Roku and Amazon Fire. And Byron, for those that are out there waiting in line today, should they expect any rain?
No, I think we're going to be in pretty good shape. And the theme today, not as hot. In fact, looking out over the next 7 days, this is going to be the coolest. 83 out there with some spotty showers, but a lot of that's during the morning outside of any risk for any severe weather. So some scattered areas of rain, that's going to be about it. I think a lot of it winds down during the morning hours. It's just going to be hot through the Labor Day weekend.
Great. Thank you, Byron. Well, let's see who's celebrating a birthday today. Congratulations to Randy Lambert. You win this morning's treat from Donut Bank. So come on by and get a gift certificate here at our station on Mount Auburn Road in Evansville. Have a great day and happy birthday.
Stay prepared when breaking news or severe weather happens by downloading the 14 News apps. This message is sponsored by Ashley Home Store in Evansville and Owensboro, America's #1 name in furniture. This is home.